We saw like 3 cop cars coming to the school, and I kind of like had a feeling that something was going off.
We start tonight at 11 with hoax incidents at schools across the state. In all, 17 schools were affected by the false alarms, including Blythewood High School students. They tell us they were terrified, fearing for their lives, saying they're appalled at the fact that this appears to be due to some social media challenge.
And then when the cops came to get us, everybody started running out, and that's kind of when I freaked out a little more. And my sister was still in the school, so I had to call her and make sure she was okay. So it was scary.
Again, it's not known if a social media challenge was the cause of all of this. That's still under investigation. Fear and confusion were also the 2 primary emotions nearly everyone was feeling today at the school.
This is a wake-up call to our small town so we can get better resources for our children and for the people that live here in Blythewood.
Blythewood High School students will have an online learning day tomorrow. Then they will return to in-person classes on Friday. Now, the initial call happened just before 10:30 this morning. Richland deputies got a call from someone who said they were inside the school, said that somebody had been shot. Richland Sheriff Leon Lott says the school, the staff members, and the deputies handled the situation exactly how they should have. As we mentioned earlier, at least 17 schools across the state had similar incidents today. There was a report of an active shooter at Newberry Middle School just after 11 this morning. At Sumter High, a 911 call came in shortly after 10. In the Low Country, false threats reported in Charleston and Beaufort. Along the coast, Myrtle Beach Middle School was impacted. And in the upstate, schools in Lancaster, Oconee, and Greenville counties all receiving those hoax calls today. This isn't just happening here in South Carolina. It's a problem facing schools across the U.S. Since mid-September, schools in 16 other states have experienced this type of threat that is known as swatting. Now, if you don't know what swatting means, it means to make a false report of an ongoing serious crime in order to get a police response, such as a SWAT unit. The FBI has been using the term since 2008.
So far, it appears to be a dangerous hoax.
After being briefed by SLED Chief Mark Keel today, Governor McMaster said federal and state authorities believe that the hoax calls today originated in another country. Take a listen.
They think that this voice or this transmission is coming from another country. There's a foreign voice involved, foreign sounding voice, and they believe that it is all a hoax because so far there have been no such shootings or injuries reported anywhere that this person or persons is saying that they've occurred.
The governor added that investigators believe it may be just one person or one location where those calls are originating from. Well, earlier this evening, News 19's Kaylin Hagwood had the chance to sit down with several teachers to hear their perspective about what happened today. Here's a little bit of what they had to say.
So throughout the day, we have been having tough conversations about the active shooter hoax. And tonight I'm joined with 3 educators from around the Midlands to talk about your guys' experience from an educator's perspective. And I know that your districts weren't necessarily impacted today, but this is a conversation that is becoming all too common, right?
It makes you feel like sometimes there's a certain part of either young people that think that it's funny, who really don't realize it could happen to them. The only good out of it today, we knew what to do.
We have to come together as a community. You know, I was just astonished by this even happening, and you're looking at it could be right here in your own backyard.
Certainly I felt confidence that we are ready, but concern knowing that there are school districts in this state that do not have a school resource officer in their schools, that don't have mental health professionals, and that a greater attention and focus needs to be made by the state of South Carolina there.
There's signs of children that need help. Would you agree with me? And if we could start, zeroing in on that, we could save things that are we're stopping it before it gets to the point of locking down a school.
When you guys see these types of things on the news, and it is real, to me, it almost feels like that could be triggering for you all to constantly have to consume that.
When you hear it, it's sad. I'm afraid that we're going to become so numb that we aren't going to be able to react the way that we should react when situations like this happen. And that's part of what scares me, and just seeing the concern amongst teachers, because you never know who's coming into your schools. Nowhere is safe. And you're looking at the kids that we're trying to raise and kids that we're trying to educate, and you just wonder, where's it going wrong?
My wife and I are blessed with 4 children. One of our children, one of our kids, was the age of the young people at Sandy Hook when it took place. So certainly you can put yourself in that position. What if that was my child? One of our children, when Uvalde happened, was the age of those students. So it does make an impact. It does make you think. I mean, it does make you maybe hug them a little bit tighter and tell them you love them before they get out of the car. In terms of what teachers should be discussing, they should be asking questions. Is our school staffed with a full-time SRO? Is our school sharing an SRO with 1, 2, 3 other schools?
We have to work as a community to try to bring some type of programs or something into the schools.
I think kids have got to learn there are consequences to bad behavior.
Again, the investigation into how these calls were made continues tonight. Following all of this, we spoke with a certified trauma specialist on how to navigate talking with kids about coping with traumatic events at school. Jennifer Wolf says when having these conversations, it's most important for parents to be present and to listen to what their kids are saying. When talking about handling fear on school grounds, she says to push positive reinforcement when bad things happen. That means reminding students that there are good days ahead, even when feeling overwhelmed. And Wolf adds it's also important to be honest with the kids and help them create a support system when coping with trauma.
And if they're scared or they're feeling, who do they go to? So build in almost like a support plan as they go back to school, and to tell them it's going to take time. It's not something that we're going to get over, but you are going to get through it, and in time that intensity will lessen.
And we do have additional coverage of today's events on our website right now. Simply go to WLTX.com, and we also have it on the new WLTX Plus app. It's available on Roku and Amazon Fire devices for your TV.